Did you miss the last episode? Here are a few highlights.
I don't want to generate an audience. That's not my goal. I want to form a family where we communicate. Family is generally with whom the most difficult of conversations are had. Although I'm very well known in Texas and New York and Washington State, you may not know anything about me, anything about my show, my passion, my work, my beliefs, or really how much I genuinely care about you.
No, you don't have to watch on social media, but I would say that if you want to get in deeper and you want to dive in deeper into the conversation and especially the topic, I would definitely say follow us on social media, join in on the conversation, because remember, it's not just about talking, it's about communication. Yes, we will have guests, sometimes in-house. Sometimes we'll ask you, would you like to be a guest? Show Couch Time with Sonja is all about family. We are a safe zone. So what we want you to do is on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time is pull your family around the TV, if you're in the local viewing area, and watch with them. Because Couch Time with Sonja is all about you. If I don't have you, there is no Couch Time with Sonja. So I'd love for you to send in your topics that you'd love to hear about, discussed here on the show. Well, I'll definitely tell you, I am a country girl with a city girl flair. And what you can expect from me as a host is my heart. I will definitely share my heart and my love with you. I love people, and it's all about people sharing their stories, one person at a time. To watch the entire show, visit couchtimewithsonya.com. Hello, and welcome to Couch Time with Sonja. That's Sonja with a J, where our mission is to provide a trusted and invaluable source of information that is engaging, relevant, and entertaining, all while embracing, empowering, equipping, and strengthening the life of the audience that we serve, and that's you. In years past, when there was an issue to discuss, a problem to solve, or a lesson to be learned, we sat with our parents, our grandparents, neighbors, spiritual leaders, and others in the comforts of our living room and solved the problems of the moment, there on the couch. In today's society, it's so easy to reach for solutions in all the wrong places. You know, the people with bad or negative advice, internet websites or social media, and definitely people who have all the answers but have never walked through anything in life. Instead, we should be asking for wisdom from those with experience. And I'll definitely share a story with you as I remember sitting back with my grandmother. The beautiful thing is that she had so much wisdom because she had lived a full life with so many life experiences. She shared those things with me, some good and some not so good. But the beautiful thing about it, it was all part of our family legacy. And I was so excited to learn about that. And let's head back to a time when solutions were simpler. I want you to just join me here on the couch and let's chat about it. And as we get ready to dive into this topic today, what do you think about when I say the word legacy? Do fond memories of grandparents and special lessons learned and discussions on the couch come to mind? Or perhaps thoughts of the family business, which has been worked for 3 generations and is providing wealth for generations to come? Your initial thought may even be the fact that you never thought about a legacy at all. You're simply not even sure if you have one or even what it is. Well, welcome to part 1 of a 3-part series on the topic of legacy. Today's topic is deep, and it's oh so good. But you know what? I want you to grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to take some notes. This topic is so deep that I am honored that I get to share this discussion and share the sofa, or should I say the couch, with my co-host, Delia Cortez. When we return, I will introduce you to her, and we will look at really first of 3 considerations when shaping your legacy. See you when we come back.
CEO Delia Davis is making history by becoming the youngest African-American female to own a television station in the nation. Along with her colleague, President Crystal Holmes, these women are becoming a part of the 1.3% African American television station ownership. Get ready for Eyeconic Television, an all-new channel coming to your TV on KVVV channel 15.10, covering Houston's local inspiration, entertainment, health, wellness, fitness, family, visual artists, comedians, and more. Streaming 24/7 on EyeconicTelevision.com. Be sure to stay tuned for the latest and greatest on Eyeconic Television, where everyone can be iconic.
I'm Marlon Wilson, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
If you got a plan, just do it. Don't let anything stop you.
I'm Lauren Tolott, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
Live poor, poor, poor for the first full year as an entrepreneur. Probably 2.
I am Chloe Cook, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
There is no limit, as long as I'm willing to fail enough times.
Hi, I'm Samir Freedy.
You're watching Grind Time with
Night Wolf Productions.
You want to be the best? You gotta be a little bit crazy.
Start where you are, and start today.
I am CJ, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
Go find that passion and go for it.
I'm Avi, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
I always tell myself I'm gonna win, like this is gonna happen.
Stop settling for an illusion of success. Stop settling for an illusion of entrepreneurship.
And keep grinding.
Welcome back. I am joined with my co-host, Delia Cortez, and I am so excited.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today and sharing this couch. It's going to be some special times, and I look forward to the next 3 weeks and really delving into the topic of legacy.
Awesome. Well, last segment, you got the opportunity to know about Couch Time and about me, but you haven't had the opportunity to know anything about Delia. So, Delia, would you please tell our viewers 3 fun facts about you?
Fun facts. Let me think a second. Well, I guess the first thing is I'm a twin. Lots of fun there. I can tell you story after story, but maybe we'll save that for next time. Second, I'm the baby of a family of 8. Can you imagine? My poor father. And then finally, I love Harleys. I'm a Harley girl. I love to ride my Harley. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Did y'all hear that? I've got a biker babe as a co-host. I love you, and I'm so grateful that we get to start this legacy here together on the couch. Couch Time with Sonja.
Let's do this.
Awesome, girl. Well, I want to start immediately on our discussion. Let's talk today. One thing remains certain. Legacy and family definitely go hand in hand. There are generally 3 different aspects to consider when delving into the topic of legacy. By definition, and perhaps the most popular, is financial legacy, often referred to as one receiving gifts, blessings of money, and or property upon passing of a family member. And the moment we hear financial legacy, what do we all think of?
We think of money.
We do. But there are so many other aspects. The other aspect that I want to talk about today, Delia, is called PMS.
PMS?
I know, PMS. Oh, wow. What does that really mean?
That is psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy.
And really, that really means it's a mindset of a particular family lineage, such as, the legacy of the Kennedys and the Hatfields and McCoys. The moment we say Hatfields and McCoys, what do we think of?
Dallas, of course.
Yes, but there is a mindset with those families about legacy.
Yeah. It's the mindset of finance and the name.
It really is. And so even with you, our viewers, what is your mindset? I'll ask you that. There's so many different aspects, but we also know
the single thread that weaves all of these together is family.
Yeah, it really is.
It's important that we remember that in years past, we had to Leave It to Beaver days. The mom, the dad, the 2.1 kids, a dog, maybe a cat.
Did you say 2.1?
2.1.
How do you have 2.1?
I don't know, but I've always heard that term, so I thought I'd throw it in there today.
Oh, wow.
That's not today's family.
No.
The family of 2018 looks so different. It might be a blended family, culturally blended, previous, coming into the marriage with previous children, grandparents raising their kids, foster families.
So true.
That Leave It to Beaver Day family is no longer the family of today.
That's right. Well, with all of our viewers, we want you to know that your family is important. Whether you fit in one of the categories that Delia just talked about, or you don't, it's perfectly okay. Your family is perfect for you.
My family, we came into a blended family. I had my daughter when Roy and I were married, and then we added 2 sons to that. It had its ups and downs, and we had our challenges. But in that, my perfectly imperfect family was mine alone.
So beautiful. I love the way she said perfectly imperfect family. Before we begin our next discussion, I urge you first, identify and write down who your family consists of. I said earlier to grab that pen and paper, and I want you to take the time to write down who is in your family. And really, let's talk about legacy a little bit about that. When speaking of legacy, your family consists of anyone who you may financially be taken care of, or really you feel love and dedication and responsibility to them. But it's not just financial, it's also PMS.
PMS. And you talked about family, or those people that have imparted wisdom. That's such a big part of who you become. There's people that have impacted your life that may not be a blood relation, like you and I, but we are doing life together.
That's
and what
true.
you teach me and what I teach you is so impactful.
And I think we, as a society, need to understand and know that the word family it's much more deeper than just a blood relation. I'm very grateful that you're my sister. You're my spiritual sister.
I'm going to say, especially in that spiritual aspect that we spoke about, this is my spiritual sister.
Yes. And it is touching. It is touching to me to have a spiritual sister. My question to you is really who is expanding in your family? Not just your immediate family, but family. Once again, remember, grab your pen and pencil, and we'll be right back. How do you define freedom? Is it health? The ability to call a board-certified physician 24/7, 365 days a year. The ability to eliminate all future copays. Is it wealth? Cut your years to mortgage payoff by more than half and save hundreds and thousands in interest on mortgage, car, and other loans. Is it the gift of college scholarships for every child? Earn guaranteed scholarships at more than 360 private colleges and universities in 45 states. Or simply, abundance, time freedom, the perfect opportunity at the right time. It's all of these and so much more. We are looking for leaders, and freedom is calling. Join the Trivesta movement. Welcome back. Now that you have identified your personal family structure, let's hear a story from Delia.
Let me just tell you a little bit about my family. In my household, I had a single father raising 8 of us. It was not that typical family.
And many of you, just as me, don't live in a typical family. And it's perfectly okay.
That is perfectly imperfect.
I love it. That is definitely be our saying for this legacy. This legacy segment is perfectly imperfect. It is so important to identify what legacies have been created or passed down to you by your family. Although it may not be the most popular, I want to assure you that financial legacy is important, and I will tell you why as we continue on with our discussion.
So, there's that very small part of the American public who has generational wealth. The Rockefellers, the Hiltons, the Jackson family.
Yes.
They are good examples of profound wealth, generational wealth. Their children will never have to worry about paying for their bills, paying for
anything
at all. You're right. You're so right.
Honestly, if you think about, you hear the word Hilton and you hear the word Jacksons, that means they're set for life. But for us, that's not the case, right? But it's okay.
You know, we have to think about the 401ks. We have to plan for health expenses, insurance, things like that.
Yes, because there's financial liabilities, and the vast majority of Americans work diligently to achieve these things.
Yes. Even the smallest family businesses like mine, or even a life insurance policy that we would hand down to our children, or property, perhaps property that was given from
Now, see, that's good right there. Because you asked, earlier, you were talking about financial legacy. I can honestly say, financial legacy, did that happen in my family? That's a yes and that's a no. I would say no, because not physically was I financially handed a legacy. But yes, because I believe that my grandparents were blessed, my parents were blessed, and then of course that means I'm blessed. So it's all about perspective.
Right.
You know, Delia, I had a good friend that once said that God showers blessings in funnels, not buckets.
Wow, that really gives us pause and something to think about.
It really does.
So let's get into this PMS. Let's talk about that just a little further.
Yes, psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy.
Yes, this by far is the most important of these three aspects that we are talking about.
I agree with that.
You know, as a baby, what you were born into, the way that you were raised, that mindset, the ethical standards, your work ethic, your spiritual beliefs, that PMS, that legacy molds who you are.
Well, I'll definitely say that if I were to look back in my family as my grandmother who raised all those children, 10 children, by herself, is looking back and going, she was a woman of integrity. Her work ethic was amazing. And honestly, she loved everybody around her. And today, I walk in that same legacy. I believe that I am who I am, exuding with love, honestly, because of her legacy.
I didn't know your grandmother, but I definitely see those qualities in you.
Oh, thank you.
So if your family instills a legacy of positivity or high ethical standards or that unwavering spiritual foundation, you might find that you're pretty grounded. You know, you possess that ability to achieve the highest of financial legacy, which then sets you on the road to
relational legacy, which we will discuss next.
Who provided your PMS, and what does it show you?
Really, have you thanked the person or the persons for laying your foundational PMS in your family?
Even those with the strong PMS legacy have experienced trials and bumps in your life.
But they are also equipped. I honestly believe you're equipped for life due to your PMS legacy.
Your grandmother's legacy, my father's legacy?
Yes. My mother, father, your family's legacy. Who in your family has made a difference?
But you know, not everyone is as fortunate as we are. Maybe they had a legacy that was not as strong. Maybe they were lacking in some areas. Just know that even though you may have been passed on that spirit of negativity or maybe a poor work ethic, maybe looking at life negatively, you can change that.
Yes, it's really all about you and what you want to do, because it starts with you. You can change the legacy for your family and your children and your children's children. And we will discuss just how to do so in the next segment. We'll be right back. And then there was life. Born to color outside the lines. Born for such a time as this. You showed up on the planet to produce a dream. You, yes you, were born with purpose, with words. Friends, imagine that your dreams can become your reality by the words you speak. It all starts today. It starts with you. Creation, formation, transformation all begin with change. The battle is in your mind, but your voice is your weapon. Speak life, believe, prosperity, creative, daring. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Your future is unwritten. Let's begin writing today. Your words create your world.
Welcome to Golden Opportunities. I'm your networking reporter, Sabrina Golden. Knowledge is power, and networking is vital to help you grow your business. Remember, life moves at the speed of relationships, so make your customers your friend. Meet like-minded professionals and learn and develop your skills. Let me help guide you in making your next steps greater on the road to success. Here are some events to help you take that next step. Woodlands Infinity. Woodlands Infinity Networking Breakfast, March 1st at 7:30 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in the Woodlands. Join them for breakfast and the opportunity to promote your business and meet and greet business owners from the Woodlands area, while also making connections. BNI member referrals have generated $11.2 billion in revenue for the members, and their numbers just keep growing. Entrepreneur Brunch and Networking Event, March 5th, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. Theme: should you pay to advertise your business on Facebook? Learn how social media analytics work for you. This event features a business skill workshop to help you understand paid advertising on Facebook, when you should and shouldn't use paid advertising, and how to get the most out of the analytics and data Facebook uses to run your business advertising. Networkers Luncheon. Networker Luncheon, March 7th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Post Oak Grill. This event is speed networking. You will get great connections, great food, and knowledge to expose your business and expose yourself. Grow your mind with some of the top entrepreneurs around you. Business networking and overview is held every Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. at the Royal Oaks Country Club. Come out and enjoy networking with Houston elite business professionals and get a complete overview of the industry that Houston businessmen and women are so excited about. Thank you for tuning in to Golden Opportunities with yours truly, Sabrina Golden. Until next time, Entrepreneur Up.
Welcome back. Glad you're still with us, and I hope you caught the last two segments. But if you didn't, make sure you catch up after the show at www.couchtimewithsonya.com. And that's Sonja with the J.
Our final consideration is relational legacy, better known as whose you are rather than who you are. Have you ever been referred to someone as someone's daughter or someone's son? Other than, like, you don't even have a name?
Right. So recently I went back home. I've been gone for, 25 years. Walk into a gas station, and the woman working behind the counter says, "You must be a Gonzalez." And I'm thinking, how could she possibly know that? And she said, "I can tell."
Wow. Well, I know I've never got the honor of meeting your father, but man, looking into your eyes, I can definitely see the love of your father. But that smile of yours, looking at your pictures side by side, it is just love exudes through your eyes and that smile.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I also want to share just a little bit of story, I would say. Mine is a little different, though. This is something funny. You'll get a kick out of this. My husband, everywhere he goes, he always has somebody say, "You're Sonja's husband." Oh. And I'm like, no, his name, call him by his name.
Poor Brad.
Yes. So, have you ever received special privileges, Delia? You know, those special privileges, or even doors closed, just undeservingly, all because of a name, your name?
Well, you imagine having 8 brothers and sisters, 6 of them being in school before you. I had some of that, the good and the bad.
Yeah, well, just like being in school, high school. Let's just give an example of that. All of your siblings that went before you, if one was out of line and you sat in that same teacher's class, wouldn't you say that they automatically judged you?
I would say I experienced exactly that.
So many of you might be experiencing the same thing. But you know what? Those who came before you created a relational legacy in whose shadow sometimes you reside. But I want you to take a moment to reflect on the shadow in which you reside right now. It doesn't have to be that way.
I love the big shadow I live in.
I agree.
But I'm also concerned, and I think about what shadow am I casting on my children, on my grandchildren. Good. Okay, my grandbaby, I have one.
Yeah. Don't feel bad. I've got one too.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Hey, we're proud grandparents, if you can't tell. But you know what? There's also shadows that affect your daily life, your career choices, and how you were raised, or even how you raise your very own children. For Christians, we can say, Delia and I, we can definitely say that we are saved because of whose we are, since our faith is based on our relationship with God.
No doubt.
Well, and also on top of that, you know what? We live now in a shadow too of our Heavenly Father, but there are so many who don't. They don't live in that shadow.
So maybe not if we're not talking about our Heavenly Father, but our fathers, our biological fathers, our mothers, or those that raised us. We talked about that non-typical or not average family, or today, the average family, and that it's different.
So true.
Those cultural differences that blended families. Mm-hmm. You know, those are the shadows in which we live.
That's very true. And the cultural differences right now in this day and time, it is major. And I just want families to know it doesn't matter what your family consists of. You honestly are the one that's setting a legacy.
So going back to that relational legacy, imagine that employee who was with one company for 20, 25 years. They think they're working their way through the ranks in hopes of being that head honcho, the big boss. But then that recent graduate, that daughter, that son, takes on that role. Everything you've been working towards is no longer there because the relational legacy gave that new graduate that top management position.
And you know, that's not a bad thing.
Not at all.
You know, it's just, we do have to understand that in corporate America and in different realms of our life, that relational legacy is very strong.
No doubt, and that's something that I'm working towards. I want to leave my business to my children.
That's exactly right. Well, being entrepreneurs, or should I say entrepreneurs, because being a women, that is our desire to bless our children and our children's children. It's also biblical.
Yes.
And so when it turns into, you have the opportunity to create a legacy. And when you do, make it count.
Hi there, my name is Melissa Wittenborn and I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'd like to share with you my own personal journey, my own personal story about my own personal empowerment. I know that many of you, like myself, have gone through a lot of stuff, I like to call it, in your life, as well as also being stuck in the yuck zone. You know what the yuck zone is, when life really throws you some serious curveballs that you really cannot believe that you have to deal with. When I was only 5 years old, I became deaf through a high fever that I had with a childhood illness. That deafness caused me lots of pain. It caused me to be a stutterer. It caused me to have a serious lisp. And because I was deaf, it caused me great difficulties in learning how to read, because back then we learned how to read phonetically. I was made fun of. I was called deaf and dumb, and I was constantly bullied on the playground. I had this challenge throughout most of my school life. When I wanted to attend college, my father couldn't understand why somebody who was deaf and dumb would even want to bother with a college education. But I persevered on, and while I wasn't a straight A student, or probably not even an honor student, I at least excelled in the grades in my major. I graduated from college and got married and had 2 young children. The children that I had multiple health challenges throughout their lives, and it was truly a difficult time for me. So there was a lot of stress in raising children with health challenges, but I still persevered. When I was in my 40s, I started taking ice skating lessons because my daughter was a competitive figure skater and moving up through the ranks of skating. And because I had had a freak ice skating accident when I was 8 years old and almost drowned, I decided that if anything happened to my daughter, that they should just gently push her body across the ice and then I'd take it from there. Her coaches thought that was ill-advised and decided that I needed to learn how to skate. I took skating lessons and was terrified of doing crossovers where you lifted up one foot off the ice, crossed it over to another foot, and vice versa. But one day I was really excited because I was preparing for my ice skating lesson and I had mastered the art of the crossover. I was excited to show my coach. I was warming up and there was a young woman on the ice with me who was a fairly reckless skater and did not bother looking over her shoulder when she was skating backwards. And what happened is I didn't hear her coming up from behind because I'm deaf, and she locked her blade into my back boot when I was doing a crossover. When she took the blade out from my boot, she actually flipped me onto the back of my head and the rest of my body followed. I was rushed to the nearest hospital and they did an x-ray, and I remember coming back into consciousness and they told me that I had a concussion. And I remember thinking, wow, this was really painful for just a concussion. The friend that I was with at the time insisted that the emergency room staff do a CT scan on me, and there they found that I had a 4.5-inch skull fracture on the back of my head, as well as 5 internal hemorrhaging sites. And thus began my long road of recovery. I had studied psychology quite a bit in college and knew that possibly through the power of my own positivity and positive thinking within my brain, that I could maybe help myself in some way. The neurosurgeon came into me after they admitted me into the neurological ICU unit and insisted that I consent to having 12 holes drilled inside my head in order to release the pressure. He even suggested that I would die if I didn't do that. And when I asked him what my best case scenario was, he told me assisted living. I was in my 40s with 2 teenage children, and that didn't seem like a reasonable option to me. So I opted out of the surgery in spite of my neurosurgeon telling me that I was probably crazy. And by the way, I embrace my own personal level of craziness. And I told him that I was going to use Chinese energetic healing and the pain medicines. A traumatic brain injury is extremely painful, and I was going to heal myself through my positivity. I proudly am here before you today against all odds and can tell you that not only did I use positivity to heal myself in 7 weeks to 1.5 years, depending on which injury you wanted to look at, but I proudly am sitting here before you telling you that I also have all of my faculties and my brain cells working. They actually hooked up strobes to me for about 3 years after my traumatic brain injury, and they never found any further residual effects of it. I then, about a few years later, my ex asked me for a divorce. I was absolutely traumatized because I had not really worked a full-time job in a number of years and decades, didn't really know what I was going to do with myself, met a young man who introduced me to professional speaking, and I actually wound up writing a book after my divorce to share my journey and my success story with other people. I was able to do this through my positivity. I teach people all the time that you're just one thought away from empowering yourself and doing what you choose to do. I proudly stand here before you and tell you that every single thing I do with gusto, I do with vengeance, I do with optimism, and I'm constantly saying to myself, I can do this, I will do this, and it is done. I am Melissa Wittenborn, and my story does matter. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing story. I love how she shared how today's topic impacts her and how that applies to her life.
Yes. I want you to know that every single time we have a show, we're going to be talking about Your Story Matters. Remember, go to our social media pages, share your story with us, because we want to know.
And we'll be right back.
If you would like to submit questions or topics for the show, send us an email. Visit couchtimewithsonya.com.
CEO Jalea Davis is making history by becoming the youngest African-American female to own a television station in the nation. Along with her colleague, President Crystal Holmes, these women are becoming a part of the 1.3% African-American television station ownership. Get ready for Eyeconic Television, an all-new channel coming to your TV on KVVV Channel 15.10, covering Houston's local inspiration, entertainment, health, wellness, fitness, family, visual artists, comedians, and more. Streaming 24/7 on EyeconicTelevision.com. Be sure to stay tuned for the latest and greatest on Eyeconic Television, where everyone can be iconic.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us for the last few segments, and let's take a moment and wrap everything up today.
Yes, you know, since we've talked about all of this today, let's actually give them something practical to walk away with. Let's actually share with our viewers what we are doing to create legacy for our children and our grandchildren.
So let's start with that financial blessing. You know, we are trying to change what we are leaving our children. I don't want my children to have the same struggles I did. So I hope to be able to pass on that business to my children, to my grandchild.
Yes, that is beautiful. And in PMS, which is psychological, moral, and spiritual, I think we both, in both of our families, we honestly want to, not only do we want to do that for our children in showing them how, you know, morally, man, that is just having the right morals. And then also spiritually, setting that foundation for our kids, not just our children, but our grandchildren, in knowing that spiritually, we want you to be grounded. We want you to know God, but we want you to know Jesus.
We want you to know how to approach life, how to overcome the challenges that will indeed be thrown at you.
Yes. And of course, that P in psychological is honestly knowing how to take control of your mind, and honestly knowing how to maneuver, like you said, through life, but also dealing with others in life.
You know, we know the others part can get really difficult.
Yes.
On a daily basis, we're going to have that challenge, that the neighbor, the coworker, the things that will become life challenges and can become bigger than they really are if we let them.
That's true. And they learn, our kids and our grandkids learn from us.
We are their example on how to deal with life.
So true. And then the last is relational. What are we doing relationally to leave a legacy?
You know, not personally, because I was not part of a sorority, but, you know, oftentimes you hear mothers passing along that tradition of a sorority. For men, fraternity.
That's true. Didn't happen for me either. I always said, I'm in a sorority, and people would say, oh, you are? Me fi me, all day long. And so I definitely know that if we're doing this to leave a legacy on all aspects for our children and our grandchildren, what are you doing? Take everything that you've learned and you've heard today and apply it to your family.
Remember that we're all leaving a legacy.
And we get to choose if it's a good one or not. It's your choice. I want you to join us next week as we continue on our next segment on legacy. Join us next week as we discuss the consideration of parenting when it comes to legacy.
Be sure you join us next week. We'll see you then.
Have a blessed week. If you would like to be a guest or advertise your business on Couch Time with Sonja, I would love to hear from you. Email me. Visit couchtimewithsonya.com.
It seemed like I'd never be complete, like I'd never be free. Seemed like there was no hope for me, and I'd never have peace. But Lord, you came, took never away. Now I'll never be the same. I thought I'd always have to cry, have a reason to complain. Thought I'd always be hurt, I just get used to the pain. But then one day, you took the pain away. Now I'll never be the same. Only you could do what you've done for me. Lord, I'm grateful for you. You never cease to amaze me. Never. It seemed like I'd never see the day that I'd be doing this. I thought I'd never have the chance, that it would only be a wish. But by your grace, I'm standing here today, and I'll never be the same. Only you could do what you've done for me. Lord, I'm grateful for you. You never cease to amaze me. Never. So I'll never be the same again. Never be the same again. Because of you, Lord. No, I'll never be the same again. I've been changed by your mind.